and having a great customer experience helps with your business. And this is going to be a little bit of a different spin on it because Andrea's going to introduce who we have here. So I'm Susan, Andrea. And Andrea, we have someone here with us who focuses on relationships across like all areas. So why don't you introduce who we have?
Yeah, today we have Christopher Voss. Now, I first met Christopher actually behind the scenes at Funnel Hacking Live when we were speakers together. And I don't know that I was fully aware of Christopher, but I have to share Christopher a little story, and then we'll dive into it. So, Christopher is the king of understanding how to build relationships. As he would call it, multi-million dollar relationships. He has an amazing system called the ROR method, which is Return on Relationships method. He has an incredible podcast, which I've tuned in a couple times, and it is this concept that we all rise together. And even before we started the show, he has a heart of service, and he is always thinking through how to build relationships in the most cool, creative, clever ways. So, welcome, Christopher. I'm so happy that you're here.
I'm glad to be here. I kind of said in the green room, I kind of feel like I'm on the Diary of a CEO, Stephen Bartlett's podcast, because I look at the people you've interviewed before me and I'm like, dang, why do they want to talk to me? So I was like, they got some really cool people on here. And the cool people you've had on are friends of mine and people that are just amazing humans and individuals that are doing great things. So, but yeah, honored to be here, honored to share a little bit with your group and help them out in any way possible when it comes to relationships.
Yeah. I think okay, so to kick us off, I think my first question is, we work with a lot of really great entrepreneurs who are doing amazing things, who are great at, I would say, motivating and inspiring and bringing people in. But sometimes they struggle a little bit in the delivery systems. And I don't think it's a lack of caring. I think it's more of they're just not quite sure what those relationships actually should be or what their role is or how to proceed. I would love just to hear your wisdom and your insight and your know-how of how my entrepreneurs start to think about those types of relationships.
And you're speaking like they're customers, right?
Yeah, they're customers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes one of the hardest things that we all fight, we all force is going into autopilot, going into
Mm.
default mode. And it's really easy to be able to do that. And so sometimes when you get flying along as entrepreneurs, we're running a business and we're thinking about a thousand things in addition to our families and our relationships with just all different kinds of people. And so you get into this mode, you get into this, like I say, cruise control. And so one thing that's really important is to create a system. And I know when you say systems, some people grab their chest and freak out. And they're like, oh my gosh, another system. But what I mean by that is just come up with a system or a process to keep connection and keep nurturing those relationships with two different kinds of people. You've got those people that you don't have a relationship with, that you desire to have a relationship with and connect with. That's number one. And then number two, you have those people that are your clients and your customers that you need to bond that relationship and make it tighter. And then in addition to that, you have the relationships in your own personal life. And one thing, as I was focusing on my business, my wife and I sat down one time and had a really hard conversation. She's like, you really need to spend some time RORing your kids. I was like,
Mm.
whoa. I'm like, that was like, um, Steve Larson calls it a fish slap, where psh, I think and it was like, oh, she's like, you spend. She wasn't like getting up in my grill, but it was just an honest conversation. Like I see you, you're sending gifts. Like I'm sending, when this all started, you know, money was tight. It was before ROR was even a business. And I'm spending all this money buying gifts and sending them to strangers. And at the time, my wife's like, why are you sending a gift? Why are you sending this to that person? Why are you sending this to that person? And, I knew why, because I was trying to build a relationship with them. I was trying to serve them, do something, say thanks to them. And so my wife was like, maybe you need to think about spending a little bit of that. Not that I was like a bad dad and I ignored my kids. No, I think I'm a really good dad. But, spending time RORing my kids. Now, I always did a good job RORing my wife. One of her love languages is gift gifts. So for
Oh,
me, it's
that's
like
great for
You
you.
hit the
Yeah.
jackpot.
wheelhouse. I'm
Yeah,
like,
jackpot, yeah.
yeah. It makes me think of, do you guys remember the movie City Slickers, when
Yeah.
they're on their
One,
thing and they got the
one.
guys that are Ben and Jerry ice cream guys and they're trying to stump them, like, all right, match a flavor with this meal. And they're like, or, orange roughy, side of Brussels sprouts and such and such. And the one guy, it's like scoop of chocolate, scoop of vanilla. Don't waste my time. It's kind of like, ah, but yeah. So gift giving. So I need to do other things for my wife because gift giving is kind of a thing, but she benefits from it because, I'm like, oh, that'd be great. She'd love this. She'd love it. But going back to your question, one thing that we call it in return on relationship, we call it tightening the hug. All of us give hugs. Some people don't like the touch. Some people don't like to give hugs. But if you're a hugger like me, usually you see someone, you give them a hug. If you
Mm,
see someone, you give them a hug and then you squeeze a little bit. And then sometimes you see someone, you give them a hug and then you really squeeze and you really tighten the hug down. And it's like you kind of hold for a little bit. We go to a lot of same events, Funnel Hacking Live. There's people that I had a relationship with digitally online, but I never met them physically in person because of COVID and just life and all these things. And so at some of these events, I meet these people for the first time. And we're like, this is a person that would bail me out of jail if I ever got arrested. I could call him up and say, hey, come bail me out of jail. Not that that would ever happen, but I never met him in person. So I told them, when I see you and I give you a hug, it was Don Mamone. I don't know if you guys know Don
oh,
Mamone, but
yeah.
Don
Oh, yeah,
Mamone.
yeah, yeah. We know Don. Yeah.
So I was going to see him in Texas. I was speaking at an event and he was there, and I sent him a message before and I said, dude, I just want to warn you, when I hug you, it's going to be awkward. I'm going to hold on to you for a little bit, and this is going to be it's going to be long. And right when you kind of do the flex release, like we're done hugging, I'm probably going to hold on for a little bit more. So I
I
just want to
I
warn
think
you.
he would really appreciate that. I think that yeah, I think he would really appreciate that.
so tightening the hug is really important. You need to do it with your customers and your clients because they are your number one referral system. They
Mm,
are the best at giving you opportunities for, they're a bridge to so many other things, but it's so easy to get into autopilot, to get into cruise control, and then figure out you really need to go all in and spend the time in there because it's so much easier. And we all know this. It's so much easier to do that and nurture and keep a customer than going out, marketing 101, cost to acquire a customer. Sometimes
yeah.
it's really expensive. So that's why I'm a really stickler on customer service. If I have a local company in my area that's helping me with something and they give me crappy service, I'm like, dude, seriously? I know how much it costs to go get a new me just to
Yeah.
hold on to me. My mom got $4,000 in blinds installed in her house, and they didn't let her know there was a delay. They didn't communicate with her. My mom's 83, and she's sitting around saying, "Where, I spent $43 for these blinds. Where are they? What's going on?" And then not everything showed up. And I looked at the guy and I go, "Are you serious? Like, my mom is going to spend another $4,000 in blinds, total 8,000. You didn't even take care on the first one, so you got to take care of your customers." I mean, I told this guy, what if you just said, "Hey, Mrs. Voss, where do you like to eat in Plymouth? I'm not from around here. What's your favorite place to eat?" "Oh, I like Maya's Deli."
Yeah.
Get in your car, go get a $25 gift card at Maya's Deli, swing back by, drop it off, and say, "Mrs. Ross, thanks so much for your business." Boom. She'll tell 9,000 of her friends, half of them will get blinds. And so it's just that whole concept of taking care of your customer. Okay, how do you do it? There's tons of ways that you can do it. But going back to the thing I said about systems, we live in a generation, we live in a time where there's no excuses for not having systems anymore. For anyone to say, no, with artificial intelligence and everything we have right now, it is very simple. You can just go to AI and ask it, help me come up with a system, a way I can track. I call them touches
Mhm.
and,
Yeah.
touch points. When's the last time you touched your customer? When's the last, we call them touches. You can send a card, you can send a letter, you can send a gift, you can send them a message, you can send them a voice. I mean, mix it up, make it a salad of not the same thing. And the thing is, make some of the stuff personal
Mm,
because even if sometimes I'll get a direct message and I feel like I need to go take a shower after I got the message from someone because I'm like, I feel so dirty from this message this person sent me. Not because they said anything obscene, but it's just so uncaring and so just, it's part of this mass thing they're sending out. Marley
mhm,
Jacks just did a thing about people know when VAs are in your DMs and they know it's not you.
mhm,
But
mhm.
anyway, make it personal. People are okay with touches. A touch is better than no touch. I mean,
Mhm.
hey, I see you, I appreciate you is better than crickets. But
Yeah.
mix up the flavor, because if you're if it's vanilla pudding all the time, we're like, man, I am sick and tired of vanilla pudding. Holy crap. Break up some Oreos in this, or like do something to make it a little bit better, just to make the variety a little bit better and make it feel a little more personal. But know your customer. Like,
Mhm.
get an Intel file, start an Intel file in every single one of the people that you serve, and fill that thing full of stuff that you know about them and they like. And if you listen really closely, like, some people are just like, blah, blah, blah. They just tell you so much about themselves. But if they don't, here's something that I do. And this is a tidbit for you guys that are watching this and listening to this. Go in with like 3 questions. This is what I do. Um, have 3 questions you want to get answered. And then you
Mhm.
can easily throw those into the conversation and be like, say you want to find out where they went to college. Say, hey, I've got 3 kids in college right now, and it's just killing me. I'm writing checks all the time for college, and it's crazy. And I went to Michigan State, and I'm a Spartan, I'm a Green. I'm like, where'd you go to school? Boom. So you just set it up. You just be like, hey, I got 3 questions for you. Where'd you go to school? And but you just throw in the conversation like, oh, I went to Stanford, and and you're like, okay, boom, Stanford. Now it's like, okay, I can go get something really cool for Stanford University, do a little bit of research on, oh, everyone loves this building on campus. Get them a nice little watercolor of that and send it to them. So, um, to answer your question a little bit further, and, just start picking your nose or scratch your head if I'm going too far, because sometimes I'm a rambling thing.
This is
But
great stuff.
we had a client that hired us, and he said, I want you to help me get closer to my clients. Like, I want you to help me bond to my clients. He had a mastermind inner circle of people that paid $20,000 to $30,000 to be in his mastermind. And he hired us, paid us a fee, and we did intel on every single one of the people in his masterminds, and basically dug in and found out, okay, this guy, one guy was like he threw, they call it the hammer throw in the Olympics or track
Oh,
and
yeah,
field.
yeah. Mhm.
Mm.
And this guy was like die hard. And so we took a picture of him, a really cool picture of him throwing the hammer, and took it to an artist, and they did this beautiful painting of him throwing this hammer, and then we framed it and sent it to him. This guy thought, holy crap, this is amazing. So anyway, he hired us, and people are like, well, it's impersonal. He's paying you to do it. Well, why do grooms pay thousands of dollars to hire a wedding planner if they can afford it? Because they want to make the best possible wedding ever. And the bride isn't sitting there on the wedding day going, yeah, this is really nice, but it kind of sucks because you hired that guy to put this amazing wedding on, and it just really doesn't mean as much. No, they're not going to say it. They're going to be like, holy God, this is amazing. You had unicorns flying in and doves and all this stuff. I don't know. I guess you can't hire unicorns. They don't exist. But anyway, my point is, he hired us to help nurture and tighten his hug with his customer. And what is that going to do when it's time to re-up another
Exactly.
$30,000? Well, it's going to be, number one, you got to give them value and you got to serve them. I mean, they got to be getting something. You just want to throw $20,000 away, but it's going to be a lot easier to get them to re-sign up when you serve them, give them value, they learn it was worth their time, and you have this relationship with them. I'm going to tell you one more quick story, and then I'm going to shut up and ask a question. Way back when I was newly married, I worked at a radio station and I sold airtime, and I got people to advertise on the radio. And I remember, sitting in with a customer, and we were talking about the radio buy of what they were going to do for the next quarter.
Yeah.
And in the meeting, the owner of the business, we found out that this radio account executive no longer worked for this radio station. He had moved to another station.
Mhm.
And so the owner of the business looked at me and said, great, awesome. I don't have to buy that station anymore. I'm going to give all of his budget to you.
Mm.
The only reason he bought that radio station wasn't because it was helping him sell more um, awnings or whatever it was. It was because his relationship with, now, of course, he got something from it. It was a complete zero, but he's like, good, I don't have to buy that station anymore because, so-and-so's gone. So that's the same thing with your customers and clients. We're all competing for the same dollars, the same money, the same time. People are deciding where they're going to put their time, where they're going to put their money, where they're going to learn. Give them a ton of reasons why they want to stay with you. And if you do that, it will last forever. You'll never have a problem with money. You'll never have a problem with income because you have this constant feed. And so relationships, I mean, holy smokes, we are in a trust recession right now. You
Yes.
heard Mr. Arwar say that.
Oh,
Trust
yeah.
recession. Is that video real? Is that real? Is that real? Blah. Can I believe that? Is that true? And I mean, it's like, you don't know. Am I really talking to this person? Is it a computer? I mean, it's like, so belly to belly relationships are what are going to help anybody get through any recession, any downtime. When money's tight and people are like, I'm gonna have to cut something back. Well, I'm not cutting this back because the relationship I have with the person and what it's doing for me. So that is a
I love
very, very long answer to a
it.
question, but hopefully that answered your
Great.
question.
It was great. Yeah, it was great. Go ahead, Susan.
There was so much, in such a good way, Christopher, so much that you mentioned in there. One of the things, that you talked about is systems, and I was just saw, like, maybe a day or 2 ago, and I have no idea how accurate this number is, but I saw the number that a human can really only mentally, um, keep track and foster, like, 130 relationships before that number seems high to me. I'm like, I don't think my brain can do that. 130 relationships. And so, I curious your thoughts on that, first of all, and then, like, having systems in place. And when we are typically talking about systems, when we're talking about delivery and all that, we're talking about, like, really, like, tech heavy systems. But I love the a lot of people, they have one-to-one clients, they have, fewer, um if they're going client route, they might have fewer clients than someone who's going customer route, and they have, like, hundreds, thousands of customers. Um, and so just even having the system of, just put down notes so that maybe you cannot remember every detail about everyone, even with, like, 5 relationships. But putting those into a file and then being able to pull that up. And so the systems key. And then when you factor in, okay, how can you actually make your customers feel like clients, relationship wise? That takes that to a whole nother level. Like, okay, if you have hundreds or thousands of customers, maybe you can't have a file on every single one of them, but maybe you can to some degree. You have some information, especially when we talk about our delivery systems and whatnot. You can have information. So anyway, curious your thoughts on that. Like, what is a human capable of?
Yeah, that's so true. And that number's probably on the high side, I would say. I mean, our brains are processing so much. But the key thing is, um, when you come to the system, like, there's simple CRM. If you have if you have a halfway good CRM, I mean, you can tell it. You can tie in the touch points. When's the last time? Blah 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 blah. All that stuff and keep track of all that. But here's the thing. So those of you who are watching, I want to help you. So we haven't gotten this later, but the way you connect with me is I'm a relationship guy. So you send me a direct message over Facebook. You can find me very easily through this. There are
And he's super
companies.
responsive. I can firsthand attest to it.
Yes. There are companies that can help you do this. And I will refer you to a particular company that you plug your CRM into this company and you can do stuff on mass level, on mass reach out, but also you can give it a personal flavor. So here's the thing that I do is I go to these things and go, I mean, there's companies that you can send out cards really easy, and there's a gazillion of those. But how can you take that and make it personal? So in ROR, I call it next step, next level. So when you look at something, what's the next step? What's the next level? Um, and so how can I tweak this just a little bit to make it personal? And there are ways to do it. And so people reach out to me, we can talk about it. There's ways that you can take something from just a normal reach out to a little personal. And so this company I'm talking about particularly that I can connect you with, you can customize things to where you can use their kind of generic mass send out, but you put a little personal flavor with it. And like I said, at the end of the day, if you don't get anything in the mail for 3 months versus getting a card that a computer generated it, but it's in your handwriting, but here's the flavors. Here's and this is I mean, my mind is literally blown with artificial intelligence. What I do, what my wife does with return on relationship, we're trying to duplicate that in AI and have that help us is what's mind blowing. And it's so cool the things that we can do and whatnot. But going back to what you said about having time, here's a little cheat for you. Super simple. Anytime you onboard someone new in your company, say, and they used to do this in the olden days. Um, Give them there's a guy named Harvey McKay who wrote a book called Swimming with the Sharks. Really great book.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Harvey
yeah.
has something called the McKay 66. Now, I have our own version, which is it's Dig Your Well Survey. Now, it's funny I just said that. I think Harvey McKay is the one that said this. So I learned this from a guy named Dave Woodward, Russell Brunson's best friend, mentor, CEO of ClickFunnels for a long time. It's funny. I was scrolling through. So if you get a text message from me, it's not a computer generated or anything. It's from me. Like I once a quarter, I try and do it a little sooner than that. I go to the bottom. I go to my cell phone. I go to the bottom. I scroll all the way to the bottom of my text messages, very bottom, and I just sit there and I scroll up and I send messages to every single person in my phone, and it's from me, and it's a little quick little message. It takes a while to do it, but I scrolled past Dave's name, and what's interesting is I clicked on the text message thread from Dave, and I scrolled back to the very beginning, uh, and it took me back to so in 2019 I had a stroke, and I'm alive today because so I'm going Russell Brunson and the relationship with him, becoming friends with him, and then being friends in relationship with all the people that were relationships with Russell, and it creates this whole chain. And Wallace Nelson, a guy, helped get me healthy, and I lost weight before I had my stroke, which helped me survive the stroke. And Dave Woodward was one of those people I met because I started following Russell, and I'm like, well, I'm going to follow all Russell's friends. And so Dave Woodward was the second person I followed out of Russell's friends. And anyway, the text thread from Dave, the very first text that he had ever sent me was, Christopher, I heard you had a stroke, and I want you to know we're praying for you and we're praying for your family. And it brought back the emotion that I felt when I was in that hospital bed and the machines were going noise, and my wife had this look on her face of terror. I had 9 kids, and I just sent a video to my children in case I didn't make it, and seeing that message from Dave brought me back to the relationship I nurtured and connected with him. So that day when I needed people the most, people were there for me. And your customers are going to go through all of this too, and you're going to go through all of this. And so Dave Woodward, I try and connect all this. It's in my brain. You can see it just going all over the place. But Harvey McKay, the McKay 66, Dave Woodward taught me this quote that said, dig your well before you're thirsty. And that's Harvey McKay, I think, that said that. And I learned that from Dave Woodward. That's why I told you the whole Dave Woodward thing. So what that means is we're all going to be thirsty at some point in our career, in our lives. Your clients are going to go through that too as well, and you're going to go through that. So you want to dig your well. If you wait until you're thirsty and then you got to dig a well, you're going to dehydrate and you're going to shrivel up and die. So dig your well before you're thirsty. So Susan, what people should do when you onboard someone or bring them on, give them your own version of a questionnaire. So I call it the Dig Your Well survey. You give this to them, and it has 2 or 3 pages of questions, and you say, hey, no pressure. We really want to get to know you. It's important for us to get to know you. And the easiest way is I'd love to ask, can I give this to you, and just fill it out, fill as much as you can. And they all do. It might not be complete. I had one person that filled out every single question. I'm like, thank you. This is awesome. But they fill it out, and then you put that in your Intel file. And then coming up soon, this is where artificial intelligence is so cool. There's just so much on the horizon that we're doing, but we're just literally all drinking through a fire hose and trying to keep up with like I just saw a message that people are unsubscribing from ChatGPT because of thing. I'm like, someone put a post, are you unsubscribing? I'm like, what's going on? And then I started reading all the comments. I'm like, what? Oh God, I feel so behind now. And then I reach out to my friend. I'm like, dude, what's going on? Like, people are unsubscribing. So anyway, so ask them, and it won't offend them. I've never had anyone say, why ask me all these questions? There's your way to get your gold right away and put that in. Now, the client that hired us, he didn't do this. So he gave us a list of everyone in his mastermind, and then we went out and studied and dug on their lives in a creepy way, learned everything we could about these people. and started our own file, but you can start it out right away. And so just tell your customers, hey, we're family here. We care about you. I'd love to learn more about you. And so that is the easiest way, is just ask them. People say to me, Christopher, I want to send a thank you note or a gift to this person, but I don't know how to find their address. They don't have a Jennifer Voss. My wife should work for the CIA. Holy crap, she found someone's address that they did not want to be found. And she
Mhm.
found it, and they freaked out because they had a restraining order on somebody, and they thought, oh my gosh, are they going to be able to find us? And then I got on a call with them, like, trust me, don't worry about it. They're not as good as my wife. She can find anyone's address. Like, so, and that's part of the tidbits of the ROR method is, how do you, okay, I want to send them some. So here's the easiest way. Ask them for it.
Yeah.
And I tell my students, say this: I have a thank you card I'd like to send you to express some gratitude about how amazing you are. Would you please share with me what the best address is to make sure that you receive this? So you think the psychology of that. Hey, I want to do something nice for you. Well, yeah, I like it. Two people talking. Yeah, I like it when people do nice things to me. Would you mind sharing with me? Ask for permission. Don't pressure. What the best address is, not your home address, what the best address is to make sure you receive it. They're going to give you an address that they get something, and they're going to gather it up and they're going to get it. So just ask for it. So the other cool thing too, when you're working with your clients, you have all their contact information. You're starting with so much more. When people come to us, they're like, I don't know where they live. I don't know anything about the person. So from a customer standpoint, you literally have permission. You've been given a ticket to say, hey, I want to learn more about you and whatnot.
Yeah.
So anyway, just ask for it. And if anyone gets offended by it, then you don't want to work with them anyway. If they were like, wow, why are you asking me all this? But if they just give you two things, you've got more than what you started with.
Well, and I think the coolest thing in what you're talking about, Christopher, and just like hearing your stories is I think that we lose sight sometimes that it's in these really micro moments that actually make the difference in connecting. And I want to share with you something that you did that I don't even think you know you did. So after your funnel hacking live speech, and I don't know about you, but I was absolutely taken aback at the support of our community and like just how our community showed up and supported me. It was overwhelming almost. I almost didn't know what to do with it. I was like so amazing. But there was one moment in particular that sticks out, and it was after your speech. There was a gentleman in our community about an hour after you got off. And because I wasn't able to hear yours because you were right after me. And so I was still doing the like getting off stage and doing all that. So I wasn't actually able to hear your presentation. So I don't even know what you said in it to inspire this, but there was a gentleman in our community who had been in our community for a really long time and came up to me about an hour after your speech, and I had found my way back to my seat. He's like, here, he's like, Christopher Voss inspired me, and this is really important that I give this to you. And I was like, okay. And it was this little tiny note that I think he had like taken from like the depths of his backpack, right? Like he was just trying to find something to write on. And it was like this weird, like, it was like something, it was purposed for something else, but he like took it and he found blank space on it, and he wrote me the kindest little letter. It was just, and it was, and I just remember though, like, he's like, I know Christopher Voss, like he inspired me, and it's really important that I give you this, and here it is. And I remember so vividly, like, one, how amazing is it that this person is so supportive, and this little micro moment of connection and support meant the world, and I'll never forget it. And two, whatever you said on stage that inspired this thing in us to want to connect is so important, and doing it through those micro moments. So first of all, I don't know what you said to inspire it. I would love to know. And two, what are your thoughts on it feels like these micro moments that's the important part in building relationships.
you know, when it makes me think of a dear friend of mine by the name of Monica Tanner, and she's like interviewed
Oh, yeah.
every marriage. Yeah. So Monica
We can
marriage,
actually
like
build tunnels for Monica, so we're we're yeah. They've
she's
been working
she's
together for a while.
she's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yes.
Yes.
Let us stay, when we went out for Dave Woodward's funeral, we stayed at her home, and it was fun being there with her. And it's just fun spending time with people outside of just kind of the normal digital interaction and communication and stuff that we do. I was watching an interview that she did or something on her social media, and she was basically throwing rocks at the when they say to in marriage and relationships, don't sweat the small stuff.
Mm,
And
mhm.
she's like, that is a load of crap because she
Yeah.
goes, all the big stuff and issues you're going through your marriage, she goes, they all started small and then they
Mhm.
became big. So how that applies to what you're saying, the little things do matter because just as much as those big problems that people get divorced over or like, okay, I can't stand you anymore. I can't do this anymore. I'm done. Started out really small. And so with your customers and the relationships you have with them, um, it is the small things. Those small things are the things that are going to grow into really big stuff. And one of the variable lessons that I learned in that, well, I've learned this several times, but it's just a recent, there's a guy named by the name of Alex Sharfin. And
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
the oh god, the his entrepreneur, momentum and in like Alex, I think sold it like completely shut off his business and just disappeared
Yeah.
for like 2 years, and now he's come
Yeah.
back and it's about marriage and his relationship with Katie, and it's
Yeah.
incredible, like, but, he's got this, he's doing this whole new thing and it's absolutely amazing, and, my wife and I have been married for, 31 years. Our anniversary was just last February. Those of you that are watching this, hopefully you're writing down, like, I'm giving you all sorts of freebie nuggets if you ever want to ROR Mr. ROR. Um, but I reached out to him because, we have 9 children and we've got 4 grandchildren. We've got 4 kids still at home. And you would think that, as you went along, raising children's easier and your relationship, your marriage is easier. It's like crap. No, it gets harder. And you've got to invest in it. And so I just sent him a message one time. It's like, hey, I got a couple questions for you. It was like borderline. My wife and I are driving each other crazy. Just let you know, Jennifer and Christopher are completely fine. But I wanted to reach out to him and pick his brain about something to get him some help.
Yeah.
Sent him a message, same day, message back, no problem. Here's my link. Boom, got on, spent like an hour with him or something. And this is someone that's very, like Alex Sharfin's quote is, what does he say? Uh, Treat your time as if your life depends on it,
Mm.
because it
Mhm.
does. And that was like an Alex Sharfin quote. But he took an hour with me. And so when I was on it with him, was really cool. He brought into the camera something I sent him probably
Oh,
5 years
cool.
ago, 8 years ago, and it's still sitting on the shelf in his office, and it's sitting on the shelf that only gifts from Katie and his daughters have given him. And so
Oh.
every single time he walks into his office, his eyeballs sees that thing sitting there and remembers his buddy Christopher, and I sent that to him full sincerely because I wanted to say thank you, and I can't remember what it was that he did for me or, uh, Alex inspires, and there was a reason why I sent it to him to say, "Hey, I wanna say thank you, you're awesome." But think of, I mean, that was like 5, 8 years. So,
Mhm.
if you want your business to be sustainable, holy cow. People, man, I'm so glad you guys are talking about this because, and I'm very guilty of it myself. I mean, Mr. ROR, I don't know. I'm sorry. I say to my kids all the time, "You totally pooped the bed on that one." Like, like if my kids like, if they do something completely lazy and wrong and didn't really care, I'm like, "Yeah, you totally pooped the bed on that. Come on." So that's kind of our terminology for messing up. And
Yeah.
like I poop the bed all. I don't. Okay. I don't literally poop the bed all the time. It's just saying. And don't use this tidbit. Mr. R just confessed that he
He
takes
took
a
me
crap
to
in his
short
bed all
real
the time.
talk.
Why is Jennifer
Mr.
staying with
R,
him?
poop the bed.
Why is that woman? She is like a saint. Her husband poops the bed all the time and she's still with him. That's incredible. Do you guys sleep in separate beds? Because maybe that's why she's staying with you. No, I literally don't poop the bed, but I messed up too as well as far as not. I mean, but because we're all guilty of it and we're all in go mode. So that's why going back to the beginning, just have a simple way. I mean, crap, even if it's an Excel spreadsheet with the date of, I mean, you could have AI build this in like 2 seconds. Here's the
Yeah.
last time you reached out to everybody and then just tell me when, it's just so many cool. We live in this really great time. But going back to the trust recession, here's the bottom line. And I'm working on a book called Know, Like, and Trust. Title is Know,
Mhm.
Like, and Trust. And that's what it's all about. How do
Mhm.
you get them to know you? How do you get them to like you? And how do you get them to trust you? Now, obviously with your customers, they got to know you.
Mhm.
You know, I don't know too many people. Okay, there are people that have bought stuff from people they completely can't stand, but they know it really is going to help them. I've done
Yeah.
that. I'm like, that guy's kind of a turd, but man, I really need to learn that skill. Okay, I'll give him 97 bucks. I'll learn it from him. But no, like, and trust. So think of your customers. Get them to know you, like you, and trust you. And that last one, trust, is super important because once you have that, you've got a customer and you've got a friend for life and you've got a referral source and all sorts of magic happens from that. So
Yeah, well said. Well, Christopher, I think we could talk to you forever. We're so grateful that you gave us your time today. If somebody wanted to get in your world, I know you said DM you directly, but I just want for them to hear it again. Is there anything else to get in your world? Anything else for them to know about how to just dive deeper into ROR?
wonderful. Send me a direct message. Go to Facebook, find Christopher Voss, send me a direct message. Say, hey, Christopher, saw the interview. And number one, I want the little freebie that you're going to give me. I've got something really valuable that I can give you that if you just start doing and implementing and doing it on a low level, it will move the needle in your relationship space and everything. So I would love to give that to you. And I'm not going to send you a thing and just have you download it. And I can send you a funnel and blah, blah, blah. No, just reach out to me. I'm a relationship guy. Send me a direct message. And I would love to be able to give that to you. And also, I'm more than willing to book a Zoom with you. And we can talk about how you doing in your relationship space. I mean, where you need help. And I'd be glad to be able to do that and just chat with somebody and help them in that area. So reach out to the relations guys, send me a message, and I'd be glad to we'll set up a time. We'll talk. There's just so many things that you can do in this space. I call it low hanging fruit. There's lots of low
Mhm.
hanging fruit. You don't need to feel like you need to climb up the top of a tree to get that nice piece way up there. There's all this stuff that's nice and ripe down here. Just got to reach out and pluck it, and I can tell you how to pick it. And if you do it, game changer. We're in a trust recession, um, and you got to get people to know, like, and trust you, and you need to increase that trust over and over and over again. And if you do, you'll never have to worry about anything. And the cool thing about it is, people are going to reach out to you. Like,
Mm.
you build this relationship and trust with a client, they're going to refer you to someone else, and you're going to get a phone call from someone someday that says, "Hey, so and so gave me your number," or someone's going to send you a message. So and so told me to reach out to you. It just happened this morning. I was coming home from the gym, doing my swim, and someone sent me a screenshot of an introduction they did to someone. And this is someone that knows, like, and trusts me. I have a relationship with them. They're a client. We've helped them. They've helped me, and they sent someone my way because they trust me. So know that this is important. And I know there's shiny object syndrome. There's lots of things that we all are freaking out about on being left behind. Here's the last
Mhm.
thing I'll close with. This will help all of you. If you're freaking out a little bit about artificial intelligence and everything and all these things that are going on, develop a relationship and a friendship with the people that know this stuff. And you don't have to worry about anything. Like, you don't need to be an expert in all this stuff. Just cozy up with someone, make a friend out of someone that knows it. And then you can just go to them and go, like, that whole chat, I'm giving rid of my subscription. I messaged my friend. I'm like, dude, do I need to worry about this? So anyway, relationships are everything. Everything in life and business swings on hinges, and doors are opened by those hinges. Those heavy doors get opened by a hinge. I call those hinges relationships. Just as
Mm.
much as a hinge opens up a door, relationships open up doors. And I know that all of you are watching this are really hoping for some things in 2026. This is your year. This is a year you want to do it. This is a year you want to crush it. But a relationship is the thing that's going to open up that door of opportunity for you. And so thanks for having me here today. And it's great to complete the loop. And we're on stage together now here and
Yes.
interviewing each other. It's super cool. So yeah, reach out to me, folks. Send me a direct message and we'll see what we can do to help you.
Thank you, Christopher, so much. Appreciate you.
Yep, so wonderful to have you with us.
Yeah. Bye.